Hello, everyone. My name is Mark Kageyama, and I'd like to welcome everyone here to Be Your Own Hero. I'm a stage 4 prostate, bone, and lung cancer patient slash survivor and doing very, very well. Here in Texas, we're coming to the end of August, and we're approaching fall, so we're going to have actually our weather started changing now. It's starting to cool down quite a bit. It's been a very, very nice summer. We've only had, for Texas, of all places, we've only had a couple of days over 100. And this week's been in the 80s. So today is just absolutely stunningly gorgeous. It's really nice. And so I am so excited because we've been chatting before we started this recording, and we have some great things to discuss with you. And at this time, I would like to reintroduce Linda Trummer, who has a large cancer group, and I'll let her tell you more about it. Linda, please reintroduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about who you are, and let's get a fantastic conversation going.
I know we will. We'll have one. Linda Trummer here from Minnesota. And it's been it was 53 degrees when I woke up this morning.
Wow.
So we've had some 60 and 70 days. I think it's
Mhm.
77 right now. It's supposed to get up to 80 tomorrow. But yeah, our weather is cooling down as well, which is nice because since being diagnosed with cancer, I really can't tolerate the humidity. So it's nice to be able to sit outside and enjoy that. I was diagnosed 10 years ago this month with mantle cell lymphoma blastoid variant. Um, Spent quite a bit of time trying to survive that. Spent 3 months in hospice, and here I am. I run a group that I started 8 years ago called Mantle Cell Lymphoma: The Journey. We have almost 2,500 members now. Um, Continually growing. I never in my wildest dreams imagined we would be that large. I've got a leadership team of about 20 people who do everything from helping with administration to moderators, group experts, people who help provide additional support to our caregivers, just a bunch of people who are making sure everyone feels welcome and that their needs are being met.
Awesome, awesome. One of the things that we want to discuss that I really want to hear about, you've been through a number of health crises in your life. And so what I want to know is how do you deal with all of these things that keep coming at you? And what's your approach and how do you keep, overcoming you've overcome so much. And if you could explain some of the things that you've gone through and what you have done to overcome these individual crises.
Well, I've almost died 3 times in the last 10 years. And and that has helped me to be able to deal with everything that comes along the way because um, I'm not afraid of dying anymore. I've been to the edge. I've seen what I think is going to happen, and I'm just not afraid of it. And so each time something new comes up, um, I reach out either to my oncologist, my primary care doctor, or my palliative care doctor, depending on what's going on. And they are either able to help me through the situation and manage it, or bring in an expert um, who can deal with something new. So that's really how I've dealt with it. And I I, uh, I hope I don't steal a phrase that we thought of together, but it's become my job to survive cancer and all of the side effects that come with it. And so I that's what I do. I take it on as my job to be a survivor, to thrive as much as possible. I'll be honest, some days I don't feel very good about it, and just sort of wish, you know, time, wish the worst. But then I come out of it and I'm back on track. So um, that's how I deal with it day by day.
How, whenever you've had a new setback,
Mhm.
how do you mentally deal with each one individually? What's your approach? Because I think that's could be very helpful for anyone out there dealing with cancer or a health crisis or whatever it may be, life in general.
Right. Oh boy, that's a really good question. And honestly, I think that as human beings, we're just given that instinct to survive.
Hmm.
And I have it, and it's really strong. And I realize that with my cancer, I had a very toxic chemo initially that caused a lot of problems. I can remember the day I was out walking in the hallway at the hospital, and I looked up and caught the eye of a nurse. And at that very moment, my legs gave out, and I had to be wheeled back to bed. Um, so lots of things like that happened over time. And I always get through hard moments by using my sense of humor, and it's very sarcastic. And I like to make fun of what's going on and laugh about it because I think laughter is the best medicine. So, but the other thing is, I talk about it with anyone who wants to know. It's not a secret to anyone who knows me what I've been through. And I think talking about it, writing about it, I've been journaling all these years, um, running the support group and being able to share my experiences with others so that they can learn and grow from them. Um, I love to write poetry, and I write a lot of silly poetry about the things that I go through, um, and share it with my group so that we can laugh. We can laugh about it because what's our choice? We have no choice. It's either do or die, and I'm not ready to die. Um, I never thought I'd even see my 61st birthday, and I'm turning 70 on Friday.
Wow, happy
Yeah,
birthday ahead of
thank
time.
you.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. What is it that drives Linda Trummer? That's what is going through my mind. What is your motivating, the thing that motivates you to keep going? Is it family? Is it friends? Is it what is it?
I really, and I know that you've done this as well. I've really devoted myself to helping support other cancer patients and people affected by cancer. And that really is a driving force for me. My my group is very meaningful to me. I've gotten very close to a lot of the people who are in the group. They have a nickname for me. I'm Mama Bear. So they're all my children, my little cubs, and I feel the need to be here to continue helping people find the motivation, the hope in life. Um, it's what I did in my job before. I was an outreach coordinator for lots of people who were in a very difficult situation and helping them find hope and resources and surviving was important. I've always been kind of a caregiver, and I don't intentionally think, oh, I have to stay alive to help people. I really think it's something that's built into me that keeps me going.
Well, that's fascinating to me. I wasn't expecting that answer. I was trying to, and that's why I asked the question, is we all need something that's burning inside of us to move forward and keep going. And and that can evolve as well as we go through our different journeys. And
Hmm.
and I know that evolve for you as well. And to have the large group that you have, MCL, it's absolutely fantastic, and you deserve so many accolades, for what you've done
Oh my
because you've
gosh.
helped so
Well,
many people. You really have.
thank you.
I mean, just by the people that I've met in your group, and everybody speaks the world of you. So,
Oh, thank you.
what you're doing the right thing.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about approach. And this is, I think, a very, very important thing for, anybody dealing with cancer, a health crisis, is we have to make so many decisions as cancer patients. And there's so many things to navigate, you know, from our families to friends to our doctors to, you know, everything. It's just opens up a brand new world. But one of the things is how to deal with you having cancer. And we were talking about this beforehand, and you said you just tell everybody. And that's my approach as well. Let's get into that because I think it's a really important thing for people to know and understand.
Yeah. I know that there are people who don't tell anyone. Um, and I can't even imagine traveling this journey with nobody walking alongside me.
Right.
We all need, I mean, it's our nature. We need a tribe. We need to belong somewhere and to have people who care about us and are concerned about us and to help us do things that we're simply not able to do anymore. And um, some people are very private and don't want to talk about such personal things. Some people are worried about what others will think about them. Like if they decide, I couldn't continue working, but some people will go back to their job and they don't want to be labeled in their job as the cancer patient because it they're worried that it'll make them seem like a weaker person, incapable of doing what they did before. And that, to them, I say, who cares what other people think? You are the same person with the same smarts and the same abilities that you had before. You simply have cancer now. And sure, you're going to go through some difficult times and life is going to be challenging, but what's really going to be challenging is not having other people there to support you as you're traveling through that journey. Which is why I tell everyone, I want people to know. It was what saved me during my long hospital stays is that everybody in my inner circle, everybody in my work community knew that I had cancer and that I was in the hospital a lot. At the time, I was president of my Rotary Club, and we held our meetings, our board meetings in my hospital room. Um, these guys would come up and bring me lunch. I mean, everybody I knew filled me. I had a squad of firefighters come to visit me one day. Um, the nurses went wild for that, but um, they were the people who kept me in touch with the outside world so that I didn't focus. That's probably the answer to your first question, Mark. It was the people who kept bringing the world to me that kept me grounded and so that I was able to go through the things that I went through.
That makes perfect sense. And I'll share the story, and I've shared it before, but uh, I learned how to deal with my particular situation of cancer, having prostate, bone, and lung cancer, stage 4, from my sister. And my sister, about, oh, years before I got diagnosed, she went through cancer and she had it really, really bad. And the whole family was shocked because uh, we felt that she was the healthiest person in the family. I mean, she was meticulous about everything, about the air she breathed, about the food she ate, about the products she used on her skin. And so we're like, wow. I mean, it was jarring that the person that we always had looked up to as being the healthiest, and she was my younger sister, I'm the oldest in a family of six. And all of a sudden she came up and I had heard that the doctor said, I mean, she had literally cancer everywhere in her body. And so the approach that she used was she became a hermit and she didn't want to talk to anybody. And she only would talk to my mother and my sister, and that's it. And, being from a family of six kids, we were like, what about us, And so we would check in all the time. How's she doing? And then my mom came to us and said, she's not doing well. It's not going to be long. And we're like, you know, we have to see her. And so she finally agreed after we were like, hey, this is not something that we're going to back off of. We need to see her. And so I ended up walking to her house, and she lived a couple blocks from my mother's house. And so my sister and I walked over there, and I didn't know what to expect. And my sister kept saying, you're going to be shocked. And that was putting it mildly. It was just, I mean, I still remember that day like it happened yesterday because, my sister, who I had known all my life, we worked together, and here she was in bed. She was under hospice care, and she was literally just bones and some loose skin. I mean, she must have weighed no more than 55, 60 pounds. I mean, it was just excruciating to see. And I don't know how, but I tried to keep up the conversation the whole way. She could barely talk. And I don't know how I kept from breaking down. It was that tough. But walking back to my mother's house from my sister's house after we had finished, I told myself right then and there, if I ever got cancer, I'm not going to do it like this ever. I'm going to do the exact opposite. And that's what I've done. So I really appreciate the lesson that she gave me. She gave me the blueprint of everything that I wanted to do because it's so important that each and every person going through cancer make that journey their own. Make it who you are. And it's your journey. It's not your doctor's. And
Hmm.
advocate and fight for yourself because nobody's going to fight more for you than you. And if you don't fight, nobody else is going to fight for you. So that's what I learned in my journey from my sister is my approach. And why don't you talk about more about your approach and your thoughts on how a person could go about deciding how they want to approach their cancer journey?
Well, as I said when we were talking before, that cancer is your new job. You've been hired. Congratulations. And so there are things that you have to do. Number one, you
So
have
so
to make
what's
sure
so what's the pay?
the pay life, you get to live another day. And but make sure you have the right doctor. And don't be afraid to change doctors if he or she is not the right doctor. I had to do that several times. And it's really important to remember you are the one, you are the patient, you're the one paying the bill, and you're in charge. just because a doctor tells you you should do something doesn't mean you have to do it. So, joining a support group such as the one that I run, the Mark's group, is really important because you can get information and shared experiences from other people so that you know, oh, I never thought of it that way. And you can gain information about surviving as a cancer patient and making the good choices that will help you be good self-advocates. Um, Letting other people in your life when you're going through this, um, take some of the weight off of your shoulders because there's going to be a lot. And whatever it may be, just having someone to sit down and talk with you is a gift. But having somebody help you with your laundry or make you a meal is a really great gift. So you need to decide who's going to be your team, who's going to be your medical team, who's going to be your personal team, who do you want to be involved in this new career of yours. And um, I think those are really important things that have to happen. Um, oh God, my afternoon brain fart just eased in here somewhere, and I lost where I was going with that, Mark.
That's okay. Uh, Some of the things that I did and some of the things I know about, for instance, family and friends can overwhelm you, especially at the beginning of your diagnoses.
Yes.
And so that's one of the things that people need to learn how to deal with.
Hmm.
So, for instance, when I started my journey, I was being overwhelmed by family and friends, which is great. I really appreciate that. But after several days of being on the phone from the time I wake up to the time I go to sleep, I'm like, this is killing me worse than the cancer is. And so some of the things that there are resources out there. For instance, back then in 2021, I did start my own Caring Bridge site. And
Hmm.
if you go to caringbridge.com, that's still a viable way, but it's
Yeah.
become rather archaic. And it's a place where you could post about your journey and share with family and friends, and then refer them to the site so that you're not just repeating the same thing over and over and over again. Because the crazy thing about it was for me, people were getting upset at me after a few days because they thought I was withholding information from them. And they would compare notes with the people I was talking to, and they would say, "You told such and such this." And I'm
Oh
like,
my.
yeah, it got to be crazy.
Wow.
So that way with Caring Bridge, I posted and I would just refer people there. Now
Hmm.
there are other options. There's an app called My Care Crew, where it's an interactive app and people can, a patient can send their family and friends to this app, and it's interactive, and the patient could say, hey, today I really need somebody to mow my lawn, or I could use somebody to make me lunch or things like that. And then that way people could respond to that request and they would know exactly what that person needs. So there are other options out there. I don't know all of them at this point, but people are not mind readers, so they can't, read your mind and find out, what you need. And it's fascinating to me the way different people react to when you say, I have cancer. And some people, the immediate response is, oh, I'm sorry. Because we've been raised as a society that cancer is a death sentence. And I think we both uh, in our groups have shown and proven that that does not have to be the case unless you want it to be. And because you do have control in this deal, and you are the captain of your own ship. So talk about a little bit about that aspect of it, if you
Yeah.
could.
I do want to say that in my group, we do have people who die, and it's not their choice, because mine is an incurable cancer.
Hmm.
So treatment will only go so far, and some treatments don't work for some people. And that is the hardest part for all of us to have to deal with, is knowing that that is a possibility. Um, but uh, um, in regards to, uh, first of all, it's really hard for people to understand the differences between cancers.
Hmm.
And so oftentimes what we'll hear is, oh, my cousin had that, or my coworker's sister had that, and they're just fine. They're just fine. They survived it because they hear, like, let's say lymphoma, for example, and they think all lymphomas are the same when there are many, many different kinds of lymphomas, including non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Um, with different treatments and different life expectancies. So it's really hard to hear from people who say, "Oh, well, my coworker had that and she's just fine," because that is my maybe is not my reality, and that doesn't help me. That information doesn't help me, and they're trying to make me feel better, but it doesn't help me.
Hmm.
And then there are people that no matter what you tell them, and it is really hard to understand some cancers. It's like you say stage 4 when you identify your cancers. I don't, and I was stage 4, but stage 4 has a different meaning for my cancer. It just means it's in different parts of my body. It doesn't mean I'm going to die. It's just different in different locations.
Hmm.
So it's hard to understand the different cancers, and people want to understand, but you can't always find the words to make them understand because it's so complicated. And the treatments are so broad, and there are clinical trials and so many different types of chemos that it's hard even to explain what kind of treatment you're on. Um, so that's what I would add to that. Um,
I didn't even
it,
know anything about chemotherapy. I thought my perception of chemotherapy was you go in a room and then you're like shot with these gamma rays or something. That's what I thought chemotherapy was. And I had no idea as I started learning, I had no idea how many different chemotherapies there are.
oh
I
my
don't even
gosh,
know how many there are now, but there's
I don't know.
the last I've heard, there's upwards of 40 or 50 different types of chemotherapy. So, when a doctor suggests a particular chemotherapy, go home and research it and find out about that chemotherapy because some of them are so deadly that, you know, they tell you in the description that, you know, I read one where it said death is imminent. I'm like, what? And that's crazy to me. But
That's a
yeah,
really important, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but that's a really important point. I had my CT scan on Monday and saw my local oncologist on Tuesday morning. I already knew that I had an unremarkable CT scan, so I'm still okay. Um, but my question to him was, and my question to others, for others to think about, is one of our treatments, especially when we relapse, is to be put on a BTK inhibitor. And that's what happened to me when I relapsed a couple of years ago. I was put on a BTK inhibitor, zanubrutinib, and I was on it for like a year and a half before I started having these side effects that were pretty severe, enough to put me in the hospital. And so eventually I made the decision of taking it. That was in October of last year. And now it's August, the end of August. So it's been almost a year, or yeah, a year since I've stopped taking it. But I
we might lose Linda here, and I believe we're trying to get through this discussion without this happening. She might have to. Are you back? There you go. Oh, she's going to have to come back in. We're getting close to being able to wrap this up. And here's Linda again. And there she
Sorry.
goes.
I'm
No
sorry.
problem.
You weren't
No problem.
moving, and I was like, how come he's not moving? When I freeze, whoever's on with me stops moving. But what I wanted to say was do your research and ask a lot of questions because when you put on a BTK inhibitor when you relapse, at least with my cancer, you're you're you stay on it until it doesn't work anymore. And yet I stopped taking it almost a year ago and I'm still in remission. And it has long-term toxicity. So are we staying on drugs or using drugs that um, maybe are keeping our cancer at bay, but aren't really but have effects on the other end that we really need to know about? And we don't know enough to ask questions about them. So,
Great point. Absolutely great point, Linda. Everything that the doctor suggests, it's good to know the side effects because there are
mhm,
side effects to just about everything that they're suggesting. And
yes.
those are things that we have to deal with and we have to live with down the road. In fact, um, I did do 6 rounds of chemo, and it's a chemotherapy called Taxotere, and it's one of the older chemotherapies. And this is something that I've lived with since 2021 is I have a situation with my right leg. It was so bad back then that I could barely walk. I had to use a cane, a walker at times. And now I don't need any of that, but I still have to do a lot of work with my leg, right leg from my toes all the way down to the middle of my back. I have to do exercises and stretching and massaging it and everything like that every single day. I do that every morning before, while I'm in bed.
Hmm.
I do those things because if I didn't, then I don't know, one day I probably wouldn't be able to get out of bed. But it's something that, we fight for ourselves. I know Linda does, and I do. We fight for ourselves every single day. And
Yes.
my philosophy is, and I don't know what your thought is, once a person is a cancer patient, they're going to be a cancer patient in my opinion, the rest of their life.
For life. Yes.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And did the doctor tell you that your leg might act up like that
No,
when
I
he told
found
you
out.
about?
No, I found out from one of the people who actually developed the chemotherapy. I actually talked to him, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's one of the the side effects, lasting effects of it."
Hmm.
So I keep working with it and it's gotten better and try to walk every day and
Hmm.
everything like that. And people who walk right beside me know that I'm inhibited because I can't keep up with the average person's pace of walking,
Right.
which is okay because I'm just thrilled and happy that I could even walk.
That you
Yeah,
can walk. See, I
yeah.
I had a similar situation, Mark. I lost 6 teeth
Mm.
from chemo, and it wasn't something that my doctor ever warned me about, that that was a possibility. Um, the oncologist's job is to treat our cancer, and I don't think it's always in their mindset that they should tell us what might happen because of the treatment they're giving us, which is why it's really important to not just depend on your oncologist, but to have a team of people who are treating you. Now, I promote palliative care to whoever will listen. And we just had a speaker in our group about palliative care because they will look at all of your symptoms and really address quality of life issues. And palliative care is not the same as hospice. It doesn't mean you're giving up and dying. It means that you need help creating quality of life again. And the same with my primary care doctor. He was in the loop. And those were the people I went to with issues that came up along the way. Once I recognized, oh, yeah, an oncologist is there to treat cancer. And oops, he forgot to tell me that maybe my teeth would fall out. Well, so see a doctor, a dentist, see a
Oops.
dentist before you start chemo. Because if you have a mouth infection or a bad tooth, you want to get some antibiotics before you start chemo because it could protect your teeth from what happened to me.
And Linda froze again. There we go. There we go. Anyway, what would be we've had a great conversation, Linda. It's
Yes, yeah,
been really great. What would be your final thought that you would like to leave with everybody?
yeah. I guess I'm going to say it's something that I wrote down when we were talking before we started filming, and that is, don't be ashamed to share your journey. It's Cancer is now a part of your life, and as Mark said, it will be until the day you die. And uh, it doesn't mean you're going to die from this cancer. There are lots of ways we die, but we're all mortal beings and we know we're going to die. Um, and but cancer is now a part of your life. Like I said before, it's now your job. And once you're told you have cancer, it's always somewhere in your mind. And it's always going to surface somewhere in your mind, if not in your body. Um, and don't be ashamed of it. Reach out to people who love you. They want to be involved. They want to know what's happening with you. Try to explain, be patient, and explain to them as much as you possibly can. But they're there to help you. And I don't want anybody to ever have to go through this alone. Um, and if I can just add one more thought, when we have young people join our group, two things. We have young people join our group who have mantle cell lymphoma, and it's not a young person cancer. And these are young people who have, um, young wives and young children and young everything, young careers, everything. And it breaks my heart that they have to go through this, but they're thriving. These people are going through this journey and they're back running marathons and working on, their MBA, and, just they're thriving. And then there are young people who join the group whose grandmother has been diagnosed with cancer. And and I would just ask, please consider what the life expectancy is of a human being. It's like mid 70s for men and women. And so celebrate the life that they've lived and continue until that very last moment to create memories for yourself and for your loved one, because that's what will carry you through the hard times. Those are the important things to me.
That is beautiful. A couple things I want to add to that is I've talked to so many cancer patients, and this is my opinion. I'm not telling people what to do, but include your whole family, kids and everything, because I know people who did not include their kids because they wanted to protect them, but at some point they're going to be asking questions when they're older to understand. So it's better to bring them into the fold and just explain it to them in terms that they could understand. You know, mommy or daddy is sick and we're dealing with it and we're gonna be better. So we just need your help in dealing with the situation. Can you do that? Things of that nature. But I feel it's so important to include everybody from the beginning so that everybody understands and knows that they've been included because at some point they're going to find out. And if
Yes.
you didn't include them, then that's not going to go over well when they do find
No,
out.
no.
And so it's a very, very, I think a very, very important thing to do is bring that family in, bring your circle in, and hopefully everybody's on the same page.
Right.
And
I agree. And children can develop those resentments, that they missed out on those
right.
memories because they were excluded from what was happening. And there are so many wonderful materials out there. The Leukemia and Lymphoma Society has a wealth of information for cancer patients, including nurse navigators who can help you find clinical trials and all sorts of things. And they have materials to help explain to children what's happening. They have materials for caregivers, lots of support for everyone. So that is one organization I would say reach out to if you if you need help.
And that's a great point. The resources are out there. And if you don't know, you could reach out to myself or to Linda, and
Hmm.
I'm sure we'll be able to guide you in some form or fashion uh, because of all the people we've met over the years and all the resources we've seen. So yeah, it is not in the dark ages anymore. Cancer is an epidemic. It's an absolute epidemic. And when people realize how widespread it is, I mean, the statistics are 1 in 2 men by the age of 50 will get cancer, and many will be prostate. 1 in 3 women by the age of 50 will get cancer, and many of those will be breast cancer. So
Hmm.
there's cancer is everywhere. I mean,
It
it's
is.
shocking to me when I hear so many. I mean, every single day I have people coming to me with a new diagnosis. I mean, all the time, and it's unbelievable how much it's out there. And people when people get that diagnosis that you've got cancer, can be a life-changing event. So, utilize your resources that are out there.
Hmm.
And no, I think we've had a great conversation, Linda, and keep up the fantastic work that you're doing with your group. And I will put all of Linda's links into the description. And you know, your group is absolutely fantastic. So thank you so
Well,
much for your
thank you.
time. And
Thank you for the opportunity. Could I just add something to what you just said, though, Mark?
sure.
Um, um, oh, good grief. My brain froze again. I deal with a lot of cognitive issues. So if you out there are listening and you're having issues, it's okay. Um, I get mine this time of the afternoon. Oh,
Then we froze. Anyway,
I'm so sorry. I'm so
no, no,
sorry.
no. That's okay.
We can just end it. We'll just end it. Thank you so much. It says my internet connection is unstable, just like me. So, oh, I know what I was going to say though, Mark. There
Go
are
ahead.
so many wonderful treasures that you can find once you are diagnosed with cancer. When you realize, I mean, life becomes so precious. The colors are brighter. In my mind, the colors are brighter. The flowers are more beautiful. Everything around me is more precious than it ever was before. And I hope that that you will learn one thing, it's to be mindful of what's around you and enjoy life regardless of the other stuff. Please enjoy life. There's so much beauty.
Absolutely. Well said. And that's a great way to end this conversation, Linda. Thank you so much
Thank you,
uh,
Mark.
for what you do and for your time. And I'd like to thank each and every one of you out there for watching this video. Thank you for joining us at the Be Your Own Hero. Please like, subscribe, make a comment in the comment section. And as Linda said, we are so lucky. If you have the opportunity to open your eyes in the morning or in the evening or whenever you wake up and to experience a new day, relish it. I mean, we only go through this life once, and why not make the absolute most of it? Because that's why it is called the present. That's why it is a gift. So make the most out of each and every day, each and every hour, each and every minute, and even each and every second. Thank you so much. Have a great week, and we will see you next week on To Be Your Own Hero. Thank you.